What's up, Dolphins fans? Welcome back to another edition of the Drive Time Podcast on the Dolphins YouTube channel with new Dolphins free agent running back Alexander Mattison. Alex, what's up, man? Welcome into Miami.
I appreciate it. I'm glad to be here.
How's everything going for you so far? Have you seen the building yet, by the way?
Yeah.
Been around?
It's beautiful. I haven't seen all of it, but so far I'm really impressed. I mean, the weather can't beat it. Yeah, it's beautiful. I'm amazed at, everything, and I'm just blessed to be here.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. Wait till it's about lunchtime, about an hour from now. Get over there and get some food because it is very, very good. But glad to hear you're finding your way around the building here. So I wanted to start with this because I told you I grew up in Eastern Washington, about 4 hours away from Boise, and that's where you went to college.
Yeah.
And you grew up in San Bernardino. And my first thought was he had to have gone up there like, whoa, what did I sign up for at Boise? But it must have been a pretty big culture shock for you.
Yeah, definitely it was one of those rude awakenings for me. Going from a place that winters are 70 degrees, still in California, you get your rainy days or whatever. But yeah, I went to Boise and found out what a winter was. And I remember my freshman year riding my bike around campus and stuff, and I had it locked up. And one morning I was getting up to go in for workouts and it was frozen. And that's what I learned, really what it was about. Yeah.
Yeah, the blue turf as well, kind of a little bit of a different look there for a football field. And you're heading back, I think I saw on your Instagram, like next week for a football camp, right?
Yeah.
What's going on there?
Gridiron Dreams, Alex Guerrero, who's a former Boise State player as well. He does a lot within the community with his Gridiron Dreams camps, and even more just throughout the community. He pays it forward a lot. So he invited me to be a part of his camp series. So I think that is actually this weekend coming up. We'll be down in Boise and give some kids some gems to take away and up their game.
Yeah, man, you're jet setting from Vegas to Miami, back up to Boise, all over the country so far. Let's stay there in Boise because going back to your college career, I saw you had 600 touches, never missed a game in college, and you've only missed 5 games over the last 4 years as a pro. My question is, what's the key to your durability to spot that really kind of lends itself to quite a bit of punishment?
Yeah, honestly, I think it's a little bit of blessed with some good genetics,
Sure.
But at the same time, just taking care of my body. And I would say from early on, I learned about what it takes to get to the next level, starting in high school. My coach was forcing me to take ice baths after the game and stuff like that. And I'm like dreading it, but this is what they do at the next level. So then you get to the next level. Okay, what do they do at the next level? So just trying to learn and, learn from guys too. I was able to be around some really good veteran caliber guys when it comes down to taking care of your body. In Minnesota, when I first got to the league, had those guys who put their arm around me, showed me the ropes. At Boise, I was around Cedric Wilson and Leighton Van Resch and those guys. And so really just learning from early on how to be a pro and trying to take care of my body and be ahead of it and be preventative.
The stuff that's not fun to do, right? Like for us, like brushing our teeth, you don't want to do it, but you got to do it every single day. So that's great to hear. And when we first signed you, I thought, okay, this guy played for the Vikings. He played under Kevin O'Connell. There's some familiarity there in the scheme, right? Getting into the football here. You had to have signed here and looked at some, I'm sure you've seen some of our offensive tape a little bit. That outside zone scheme kind of fits your game, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's something that fits me well, and I hope to fit in and be a pivotal piece as well. It's for me, just dating back to looking at playing against Miami from the other side, and it's exciting. It's exciting to see, and I'm excited to be a part of it now.
It's something you kind of have to be a smart player, right? To kind of read those tracks and read those blocks and set those blocks up. Like, what's the key to being an effective back in that type of system?
Really, it's there's your key notes that you have to hit on pretty much every time. It's reading, reacting, running, but then there's the scheme aspect of it when you have to understand a 9 tech versus a 5 tech. You have to understand if you're running to an underfront versus an overfront, linebacker depth and shade and all that. So there's a couple of different things that you have to kind of snap into really quick pre-snap, and I learned that from Kennedy Palomalo, my first running back coach. He was really great at teaching the run game and with his own like words and keys. So take pride in trying to dissect defenses within that scheme.
Yeah, those moving landmarks, right? Like you have to kind of be able to read it on the fly as it plays out because so much can change in that amount of space. Something else I went back and watched on your film reel was the short yardage stuff and stacked boxes. And like it seems like no matter what, whether it's the corner off the edge that comes in unblocked or a defensive tackle that beats his block, like you kind of almost always make that first man miss. Like, in your opinion, what is the key to being a good short yardage back? Because I watched that tape, and like, you're constantly pushing the pile, falling forward, getting the yards your team needs.
I appreciate that. It's definitely a mindset. I learned early on when I was a younger back that you can't just try and go get the yardage. Mm-hmm. You have to work with what's in front of you, work with what you have. Sometimes there's nothing, and you got to live to see another down. But there's times where timing comes into play. The velocity at which you're moving comes into play. The way that you contour your body, spin off of tackles versus, going straight down a guy. So there's just a bunch of different things that you watch film on, practice. I mean, I'll be walking around the house and like run into the wall and like spin off the wall and stuff like that. So you just, find your way and find something that fits you. And I think for me, I was able to find a good amount of tools to keep in my back pocket for those situations.
I love that. I always like pass rush moves around my house, like around corners and stuff. I'm not good, but I like to do it anyways. It's fun. Or like routes, like kind of break down my route and get into the, get off the top of the stem there. But that's just me being an obsessed football fan from the time I grew up. And now I'm doing podcasts. So kind of a follow-up to the short yardage question, because pass pro, man, like, that's one of those like thankless jobs for running back that you have to be able to do to stay on the field for third downs. And watching you, that your receiving game, your short yards, to me, that's like, okay, this guy excels in all those areas. What's the key to being a good pass protector, man?
There's a lot of technique that you can, preach about, but honestly, it comes down to kind of like my running back coach used to tell me, it's like when you get in a street fight, you got to do whatever you can to just survive. And sometimes that's what it comes down to. It's you imposing your will and making sure that you protect the quarterback. So it comes down to a lot of different techniques that you have to abide by, but you got to have a plan B and a plan C. And then when those go out the window, you just have to have the will to try and stop a guy.
Kind of sink those hips in, let it absorb that contact. Like, I saw some tape of Boise where you're like taking on edge rushers are coming free. I'm like, okay, that'll play at the next level for sure. 2 more questions for you going back off your Instagram, because I saw you have a foundation. We'll get to that in a second, but fatherhood changes a man, right? I've seen the post with you and your kids, man. Like, your face is lighting up right now. Tell me about being a dad.
Oh, it's the best thing in the world. I thought, living out my dream in the NFL, that was the best thing that ever happened to me, but
nope.
No, not even close. Being a father is amazing. I got to give a shout out to my wife. She's an amazing mother. She's an amazing partner, and being able to raise those kids in today's society for us, we want to just make sure that we give them the best future that they can have, a better, living situation than we grew up with. So like that motivation is a fire within me, and seeing my daughter smile, seeing my son laugh and play and do all that, those are the moments and memories and things that I'll hold on to and that will shine through when the going gets tough, when adversity strikes. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, wins or losses, 100-yard games, 2 fumble games, doesn't matter. They're always going to be there after the game,
always
waiting for daddy. That's great stuff, man. I've 2 myself. It's the best thing in the world. Last question is, I saw on Instagram you have a foundation, the I Am Gifted Foundation. Can you just kind of take the floor and tell us what that is?
Yeah. So my I Am Gifted Foundation was born after I wanted to find a way to do something that was bigger than myself. I didn't want to just be Alexander Mattison, football player, and Alexander Mattison has a camp, and Alexander Mattison is giving back. But I wanted to start something that could live longer than me and my kids and anyone could ever live. Just let that legacy be, and let it be a movement more so than a brand, or more so than merchandise or anything like that, but really start a movement, spreading love and positivity in the world. And in college, I went through my own struggle with mental health, and I didn't know what it was. I didn't know how to deal with it, but it just hit me. And luckily, I was unintentionally doing positive mental health practices, like taking a bike ride along the river on an off day or something. And I think those things helped me get through that tough time. And for me, the message of I'm Gifted is that everyone was born with a gift. You just have to find it, embrace it, and use it to shed light in the world. And in doing so, shedding your light, you can help be that light in somebody's dark time. And I know that I was in a dark time, and all I needed was a little bit of light to kind of help me get out of there as well. So, we're all about spreading love and positivity, emphasizing the importance of mental health, and combating suicide. And so, yeah, we just try and make sure we spread that love and positivity.
Man,
And it starts out with, it's I actually get the chills when I talk about it, but like you just reading I Am Gifted is an act of positive mental health practice.
Sure.
Because you just told yourself in your own voice that you're gifted. And so we just want to take that first step and help people take that first step, and that creates the movement. So
that reinforcement, right, of kind of telling yourself like, hey, I'm loved, I'm worth it, I'm here. That's good stuff, because in this world, obviously in football, like masculine, like alpha males, like it's good to be vulnerable sometimes and kind of open it up and see what's really going on with people. So new Dolphins running back Alexander Mattison, appreciate your time, man. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you.